What do you got?
I'm hitting record. Fuck it. We're going. Even though my I don't even know what they're called anymore. Fucking headphones
I am Nick the Dick.
don't have a right
Hummel.
ear. Fuck it. All right. So, hey guys, we're here today with my best friend and cousin, Nicholas.
Hola.
Are we using last names? Do you want to use your
Yeah.
last name? I don't care if you do or
Yeah,
not.
maybe we should hold off on that.
Yeah, so I changed my name to Danger Boy.
I'm going.
So look me up as Danger Boy. Yeah.
I'm going by Gray
fuck it.
Squirrel.
Hold on, what's going on here? I'm gonna go down just a little bit on the gain. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
The static's a little bit more gone there.
Yeah, that sounds a little better.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah. So we're here today with Nick, and we're gonna leave the names at that for now.
For incriminating purposes.
All right.
These
Don't
would
worry, we'll delete this out later.
be, yeah, these would be the giant lulls that get edited in the
Oh fuck! What happened there?
various. See, there's another thing you broke.
There we go. Uh-oh. So, the other day, I was getting this all set up, and I fucking bumped one of these springs, and it was like an electric guitar in the microphone.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
the old microphone I had, it was a condenser mic, so it picked up the fucking leaves down the street rustling.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, these
Yeah,
new
see-
ones are dynamic mics, so even with the garage door open, we're not going to get the sound of the leaves. We're just going to get
Yeah.
our voices, the dog barking, your phone going ding ding, hey fuckhead.
It's all see, it's all foreign to me because I don't. This is where Jeremy comes in and explains it. He's like, "Here, dumbass, talk into this can and put these headphones on your head." 'Cause I don't
Just
know
put the fucking
anything
headphones
else.
on and talk to the mic.
Got a backup mic right here.
Yeah. So all that shit I recorded yesterday from our phone call, gone.
That's good.
Thank God.
Did I say anything about my mother-in-law on that phone call?
I don't think so.
Hopefully it's. Love
All
you,
right.
love you, mother-in-law.
So we came up with some topics today to talk about. Like I said before, this is the show about what men want to talk about. I'm looking for ideas. I'm looking for people to talk to. So, fuck it. Here's show one, the real deal.
Yeah, taking emails on topics.
All right. So I'm going to jump into this laptop thing I was talking to you about a little bit ago. I know I didn't go into real depth with it, but so I have this problem. Had this problem. Last night, I had this whole phone conversation with Nick. I was practicing with the call-ins and all that shit. And, well, my computer told me I needed to update my drivers. And it was the company telling me that, you need to update your drivers. So I'm like, okay, fuck it, whatever. Let's update your drivers.
Yeah.
So I hit fuck it, do them all. Apparently that's
I didn't
a
even know
terrible
there was
idea.
a button that said that, but
Close enough, whatever. So I hit the button. And it started doing all these fucking downloads, and I hit this button at like 8:30 p.m. Already had a whole phone conversation rendered with Nick. Is your fucking computer
yeah.
ballsy too?
Well, no, you just got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Got it all set up for.
put the password in. Sorry, guys.
And I should probably bring a mouse.
Okay, so 8:30, I get this thing started. I fuck off into the house to play some video games and hang out with the kid for a while. And about 9:30, I'm like, shit, I forgot about that. I better go check on it. So I come back out in the garage, a.k.a. the studio.
The studio.
Come back out in the studio.
The man box.
And I look at the computer, and it's got a fucking blue screen. I'm like, what is that? So I walk over, and it's like something failed. Like, fatally.
See, now that's my experience whenever I touch a computer.
So I'm looking at this thing going, Nick's going to show up at 9:30 in the morning. What am I supposed to do? This is my recording device. Crap. Okay. So, jump forward to this morning at about 5:30, and I ran out here. What is it doing?
I don't know, but it's yeah.
So the computer I gave him to
Won't even let
play
me out of
with
here.
is freaking out over here.
I
I
think
don't
it
even know
says
what it's
tilt.
doing. Can you like fucking escape out of it? Escape
That's
out
what
of
I've
it?
been trying to do, but
No.
as I said before, I am
Go up there. Fuck that thing.
computer
man,
illiterate.
it is thinking. I don't know what you did here.
I
Go there.
didn't do anything.
It's a touch screen.
Oh, so
Go to the
Yeah, I
go
just
to the
want-
Google Chrome. Fuck.
Google
We're
Chrome.
train wrecking right now. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's
You
what
just- Fucking derailed.
that's what they make editing for, my friend.
I know. Okay. So I come out here this morning, 5:30 a.m., and look at the computer, and it's still got the same screen because I was so frustrated when I went to bed last night. I was like, I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm going to end up throwing that thing across the room, and we're not going to have a show because I'm not going to have a fucking computer to work on. So I came out here, and I grabbed it, and I went in the house, and I'm like, honey, what did I do wrong?
See, now that's where I go every time
Yeah.
I fuck something up.
To your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's smarter than us, right?
Of
I mean,
course
your
she is.
wife, my wife, it's a woman thing. They're just
I mean, I'm not gonna say that to her face, but
no, you don't want her to know
it's
that.
one of those just unmentionable things in a relationship.
Yeah. So I cruise into the wife. I'm like, hey, what did I do? I fucked something up. Please help. She's like, it's 5:30 in the morning. If you don't get away from me, I'm gonna kill you.
Nice.
So I'm like, okay, when you get up and, you know, your eyes are actually open, maybe you got a half cup of coffee, choke down, come talk to me.
Something like that.
So in the meantime, I'm like, okay, I work on these for a living, dude. I ought to be able to fix it on my own. Mind you, we have a software guy at work that does all that shit for us, so...
Yeah, but where the fuck is he at?
Right? I'm not him, so I just said, fuck it, I'll figure it out. So I pull the phone up, and I'm looking for, like, possible fixes and all that shit. Yeah, don't exist for this problem.
Nice.
Windows 10, way different than the old Windows platforms, so there's not, like, an easy way. There's no easy button. Everything's app-based, so it's just different, right? So it's like, I'm not used to it. So I go in, finally figure it out. I save a whole bunch of the files that I figured I'd need. Missed a few. Whatever. And I get this thing running. Almost. Wife gets up. She's like...
No, that sounds familiar.
She's like, okay, I'm awake. What'd you fuck up? I'm like, oh, I know.
It's
So here's what happened. Here's what I'm doing now. And she's like, That's probably what I would have done to fix it.
Yeah, chapter 1, I don't know.
Yeah. So she goes and gets her coffee and goes back in the bedroom because talking in the morning, it's not a good idea. She doesn't like me in the morning.
Yeah. We don't have much communication either. Except she likes to tell me what I need to do with the girls. Hey, one of them's up.
One of them's up. You need to go take care of this.
Pretty sure Luca's breaking shit.
All right. So, anyway, I get this thing all downloaded and saved. All the shit that I thought I would need, right? Fast forward, about 10 a.m., Nick shows up, and the computer's still trying to restore. I didn't even got to the part where I got to add all the shit back on it.
Nice.
So you showed up. I'm like, well, you're here. We're dead in the water. I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, I got the software loaded onto my wife's laptop, so we could have, like, jumped into that one, but I don't have any of the settings set up on that one. So we would have had to go in and, like, totally reset that one up. It would have taken a couple hours. I'm like, fuck it. Nick, here's the Elite controller. Get her done, dude.
Throw a little Dirt 4 in my face and keep me entertained.
So we popped him onto the Dirt 4 for, I don't know, what, hour and a half?
Something like that.
What time is it now?
I put...
almost 11:30.
See,
Yeah.
now I measured time by beers.
Yeah. You're about 2 deep. Maybe 3.
Somewhere around there.
Yes, it is morning. Go fuck yourself.
Hold on. It's 11:33.
It's 5 o'clock.
Well, depending on where you're at in the world.
So the moral of this story is, wouldn't you think the company that built the computer would know what drivers you needed to put on it? What ones you needed to update, and it wouldn't just shit the fucking bed?
You would think so, but no. No, actually.
Yeah, so not very happy. In the future, I will not be doing any of the driver updates.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And if it is broke,
then
see
maybe
how long
fix
that fucker goes until the wheels fall off.
Yeah, fuck it. Anyway, that's my little rant on laptops this morning. Like I said, I'm not going to badmouth the company that builds the computer because I don't think it's just them. I think it's all of them.
Yeah.
You know, I think they give you these, like, drivers and all that stuff, and it's a generality, right?
Yeah.
It's for all.
Well, I mean, like,
of
our
them.
house is possessed by Apple products. That's just kind of the way it is, but...
Yeah. See, and if I had an Apple, I'd have a totally different software.
Yeah.
You know, this software wasn't cheap anyway, but the
I'm sure it wasn't.
Apple version of this.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of like the Porsche tax they call it in the automotive world. But we transfer that to anything Apple. 1, it's complicated, and 2, if it fucks up, you can't work on it. Otherwise, you're confused.
Right. Okay. Let's sidestep here and talk about something else.
Yeah.
You were over here giggling about the man box.
Well, we're just trying to break ground on a title name here. You say man box, and I like it. I just
it sounds like a vagina.
Yeah, or a male vagina, possibly.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's not what it is. It's more deep than that. It's all the tools that a man should have, and it's not like here's a fucking wrench, because I'm not talking about that. If you don't want a toolbox with real tools in it, don't have a toolbox with real tools in it. I'm talking about the things that pertain to your life that you should know how to do. you should,
As a man, anyway.
right? If
Or
you've
let's
got
just say
a
you're a hipster living in Oregon and you're trying to pretend to be a man.
you
should've-
got the beard, but
yeah,
you know, you don't know how to run a chainsaw, that kind of
something
thing.
like that.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know how to turn a wrench, don't own a toolbox. That's not what this is. All I'm saying is if you own a house and you've got a tree that needs a branch cut off, own a fucking chainsaw.
Yeah.
Or know a dude that owns a
Yeah.
chainsaw.
Yeah, call somebody.
Right? Like, don't necessarily pay somebody to do it, but have a buddy that, like, can show up and say, hey, Nick, let me cut that branch down for you.
And try to save a little clout with a wife. Do it when she's gone. There's numerous reasons why you should do it when she's gone.
So, I used to own a chainsaw. I don't anymore. It burned up years ago. Got it when I was 18, graduating high school. It was a high school graduation present from my dad. So he took me down to the chainsaw store and he's like, pick one out and I'm buying it for you. I'm like, dude, you're the best.
So now, just a question, but where was that at?
The
Like
saw?
what town was that at? Where were you guys at there? Was that up north?
Yeah,
or-
we were in Fedway.
Yeah. So it was probably literally called the chainsaw store.
I think it was the Kent Saw Shop, to be honest. 100% honest.
Yeah,
So, anyway, he buys me this chainsaw. I pick one out. You know, it wasn't the biggest one, wasn't the smallest one. It was called the 029 Farm Boss. They don't
Nice.
make it anymore. The most recent one, I think, is the MS217, which previously would have been the MS290. So, anyway, he bought me the saw. He had it for years. It burned out. That's not the saw. I have a buddy. He's got a saw. As a matter of fact, I have a bunch of buddies who have saws. So I got a hold of one of them, said, hey, I need a saw. And he's like, yeah, come get it. So I borrowed it. Got home. Had this tree. I don't even know what kind of tree it was. It's got these tiny little leaves. It's got white bark. It's like a birch looking thing.
There's another thing I need to work on for being a self-described man. I don't know dick about fucking trees. Like what's what? Like I could tell you probably a pine tree from a fucking palm tree, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, got this birch. Pretty sure it's a birch. We're going to go with birch. It's out in the front yard. And it's got woodpecker holes all over it. So I'm like, this tree has to come down.
Whole thing.
The whole thing.
So
And
how tall?
I tell, it's probably 50, 100 feet tall. At least,
Oof.
at least 75, I would bet.
Enough to involve the neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go tell the wife this tree needs to come down. She's like, you need to have somebody here when you do it.
Of course.
I'm like, I know how to do this. She's like, yeah, but if that tree falls on you and it hurts you and nobody's here,
At
you
least
know,
maybe
you're
Nick,
stupid.
At least maybe Nick can call an
Right.
ambulance for you.
So I've got a really good neighborhood. I live in a really good neighborhood. I've got one neighbor
do.
down the street that, well, in the cul-de-sac, 2 houses down from me, who he watches out for everybody. So I walk down there. I'm like, hey, Dennis, I got this tree I got to cut down. And his eyes, like, go really wide, and he's all
Nice.
kinds of excited. He's like, are you cutting down that birch?
Yeah, because every man wants to get involved whenever there's a massive
Yeah.
project.
So he's like, you're cutting down that birch, aren't you? They're like, yeah, I'm going to get rid of that thing. It's got woodpecker holes in it. So he gets all kinds of tickled pink by this, and I'm like, wife wants me to have somebody watching. is there any chance you could at least watch me fall this tree? He's like, yeah, no problem. So he comes up. He's like, man, that thing's kind of tall. I think maybe we should tie a rope around the tree and hook it to the truck and, maybe give her a little tug. I'm like, if you think it'll help, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this tree is going to go right where I want it to go, but...
See, the problem lies in how high up you're tying that rope.
So we were going up. I climbed the tree a fair bit when I tied the rope around it.
Not a fan of heights.
No,
Especially when you're talking that.
I'm kind of heavy, so it wasn't real fun to climb that thing in the first place, but I did it. I got up there, tied it around there, hooked the rope up to the truck, and I have like a 200-foot rope. So we had that truck a fair bit away from it before we cut the tree, right?
Yeah.
So I'm cutting this back notch, or this front notch. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to put this tree right there. I notch the tree. I give Dennis the thumbs up because he's in the truck, right? Give Dennis the thumbs up, and he's like, thumbs up back out the window. And so I start doing the back cut on this thing. And worst case scenario, I'm looking at this tree. Worst case scenario, I'm taking his mailbox out.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean,
You
in the list of things that could go wrong,
Yeah.
I could do a mailbox.
It might have been his and the neighbor next to his. So that's like what I'm looking at. Worst case scenario. He's got his car up on the top of the hill, so I don't fall it on the car or anything. But
Good idea.
yeah. So I start doing this back cut. And perfect back cut. It's textbook, I had given him the thumbs up to go ahead and put a little tension on that rope. He couldn't figure out how to get the e-brake off. That tree falls. The rope never tightened. It fell right where I wanted it to.
Ah, good.
Right?
Good.
So I'm like, I knew it was going to go somewhere in there. And
there's
it was
always
the
a
way the
chance.
thing was leaning. It was, had that tree been leaning the other way,
Oof.
it was long enough it would have hit his house. And after this thing gets on the ground, I'm looking at it going, holy crap, that's way farther out there than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's always how it ends up, too.
Right?
You're
So-
thinking 7,500 feet. You fucking throw your tape on it, and then you end up having to turn your tape the other way to measure the whole
Like,
thing, right?
I got a 25-foot tape. I had to measure it 4 times, right?
Exactly.
It was a 100-foot tree. It went way farther out into the cul-de-sac than I figured. But it didn't hit the other side of the cul-de-sac.
See, now
It wasn't that big.
That's how we here at the Man Box operate. We have tools. Do we have the right tools? Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Completely
It's-
fucking irrelevant.
The
we have
tools only have to do with what pertains to your life.
Exactly.
Just know a guy. Or own the tool or something, right?
Something along those means.
Like, that's just one example. There's hundreds of examples of what should be in your man box. That needs to be in mine.
Yeah. Yes, and if you haven't figured out by now, Man Box loosely refers to your garage.
Your garage, your brain. It's your brain.
It is. It's got a lot to do with your brain.
It doesn't necessarily have to do with the tools in your garage. It's what you can do with them. One of the other topics I have written down for today is driving sideways in the rain. That's in my man box. That's another one for my man box.
Also one of the things I love to do.
So you were laughing when you were reading all these things. You're over here going, what the fuck does that even mean? So we're going to jump into that one. Driving sideways in the rain. So yesterday I was taking the kid down to the martial arts studio, and we get to the stoplight, and light turns green. I take off, turning left. down the hill from where we live,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a line of cars down the street, right?
Nice.
And they're coming up the hill, and there's people at every corner of this intersection, right? And that light is one of those ones where it turns green and it turns fucking yellow immediately. And I've got cars behind me, and I don't like being that asshole that didn't let the car behind me through the light. You know what I mean?
So, why can't they figure that shit out? I mean, did they do that on purpose?
I
And
think
it's a low traffic area.
it's a low traffic area. So it's one of those areas that, you know, there's not a lot of people that go through it most of the day. But when you're
You got some time.
when you're going to work and you're coming home, it's packed.
Oh, of course.
So I'm taking the kid to the martial arts studio, and I'm there. Light turns green. I step on it. It's a fresh rain. I've got a Hemi in the old Dodge pickup there, so the tires fire off. Right?
Nice. So who was it? Which one was it? Was it Gage or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Gage.
So he's probably like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Dude, no emotion from this kid.
What?
He's like face down in the phone all the way there, right?
See, now that's just this generation.
Right.
They don't know how to have fun.
Bubba would have been like, Dad, push the fun button. Push the fun
fuck
button.
Yeah. See, now I got 2 4-year-old twins, both girls, and all I do is belt them in, and they're like, "Can we go fast? Can we go fast?" Like everywhere, and
Yes.
I'm like, I look at Mom, and if
My
Mom's
name's
not
Nick,
there,
right?
yeah.
I'm going to go fast.
If Mom's not in the truck or the car, I'm like, fuck yeah, we can go back.
You do it while she's in the truck. Don't fucking
Well,
lie. I know she
occasionally.
slaps you and yells at you all the time.
See, now the thing about when the girls are in there is I could just be like, "What? They asked me.
They told me to.
I want to be a provider." Okay.
So, yeah, he doesn't even look up, right? I step on it, leaving this intersection, and the truck goes sideways. Mind you, I drive with my right elbow on the center console
Yeah.
everywhere I go. I've always had that lean, you know what I mean?
Well, and like today's trucks, they have nice.
Yes.
Back in the 80s, even 90s.
There wasn't that. You know,
you
you
didn't
had your
even have
your
that.
left window and the door frame.
Yeah, you basically had an open seat.
So, yeah, no, I got this beautiful elbow room. So I've got my arm just leaning there, and I pitch this thing sideways. Truck is completely sideways,
Nice.
and I have zero emotion on my face. You know, one hand on the steering wheel, zero emotion on my face,
Now,
because I'm not worried about it.
where is traffic right now?
Traffic is directly in front of me because I'm sideways.
like 20 yards, 25 yards.
Like the next lane over. Just on the other side of the double yellow line, okay? The back tires almost touching the curb.
Nice.
I don't even grin. No smile, no grin, just dead emotion.
See, now, when I was your son's age, that shit would have lit me up.
Right?
I'd have been fucking stoked.
You'd have had a big fucking hard on, dude.
Stoked. Fuck yeah. Well, I
No.
mean, not
Zero emotion. I don't know if he knew the truck was even sideways.
10
right?
years old. I wouldn't say it was that big, but
So I get the truck straightened out, you know, get it straightened out. I look over at him and I'm like, "Do you feel that?" He's like,
what?
"What?" I'm like, "No, did you feel that?" He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about." I'm like, "The truck was completely sideways, dude. You're not excited or anything? Scared?" He's like,
Immediately thinking,
he's like, "I kind of felt that, but
what constitutes as child abuse?
I'm like, you didn't feel that?" He's like, "Well, I kind of felt it, but I don't know." I'm like, okay. So
See, I've got the solution for this, and we're coming upon it here very soon.
So let
need
me
to
make my other point, though.
All right.
So I ask him, like, you didn't feel that at all? No. Maybe a little. All the while, in my head, I'm like, I wonder what the people on the other side of that double yellow line are thinking.
I bet they have some feelings and emotions.
And there's not one car. It's like a line of cars. There's probably 50 cars in a row, right?
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I wonder what these guys think. There's a guy going sideways down the street in a big truck with zero emotion.
Once again,
and one hand on the
let's
wheel.
Reiterate, we're in Metro Oregon here. I'm sure they got some thoughts and opinions.
Let's just say I'm glad there wasn't a police officer around, or I'd have been paying a hefty fine.
Fucking today's day and age, child endangerment, attempted vehicular manslaughter.
Mind you, this is not on purpose. This is just Hemi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, fresh rain. Fresh rain.
Yeah, it's slick. It's like an ice rink.
Pretty easy to break them loose.
But I've done it enough times. Like, I wasn't worried about it. You know. It's just one of the tools in my man box. You know. I just think everybody should be able to do that.
Yeah, it happens quite frequently. What everybody should be able to do is anticipate what's happening next, you know. And this is a sensitive subject, kind of. I think in today's day and age, with all the problems with kids driving, with all the accidents, you know, in that whole 16 to 25-year-old period, why in the fuck do we not send these guys to driving school? Like, on top of...
You're talking like dirt, right?
No, well, I mean, I might send my girls to dirt, but...
dirt
you know,
fish is what we're talking about here.
Like, not defensive driving school. I'm talking like, you know, put them on a track, put them on a skid pad, you know, teach them how to react to a car going sideways in the wet, or whatever it is. Like,
you're talking like the mall parking lot.
Anything.
Like
yeah.
Go ahead and hit 50, and I'm going to yank the brake and see what happens.
Exactly.
See if you can fix it.
You know. And I just think, God, I mean, I think that should be a necessity. I think that should be part of getting your license. I just think
so.
It should.
Oddly enough, this kind of rolls into the next topic I have. It kind of rolls into the middle of the next topic I have, so we're just going to fire off in the middle, and we'll fix it later.
Yeah.
So, Nick's got 2 daughters. I've got a race car for kids. And both
that
of
was
the
just
kids...
That was just a heavy sigh because I have 2 daughters. That doesn't really do the race car.
He's got one I think would probably be stoked to jump in this thing.
And the other one would probably just wrap it around something, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, I haven't sold it because I want one of them to drive it. I don't have kids that'll fit in it anymore. Ellie might, my youngest, but she's too far away.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't work. You know, I think she would do great at it, but I don't have any kids close enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any kids small enough. It's a quarter midget. I don't know if anybody if any of you know what this is, but it's an open wheel circle track car made for kids. It's a quarter scale, goes right along with NASCAR.
It's
open wheel
basically like
carts.
today's UTVs. You know, your side by sides and stuff like that,
So,
but setting in a little bit shorter.
Interestingly, these things have been around since like the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And they started with some flathead motor that was either on an air compressor or pressure washer, generator, that kind of thing.
Some sort of Briggs and Stratton-esque.
Yeah, I can't remember the brand, but same type of deal. So today, they have multiple different classes. You have to start with a Honda 120 restricted. And they have a junior novice restrictor, and they have a senior novice restrictor. And then they have the same restrictor that they use for the senior Honda novice. They use that for the junior what the hell do you call it? It's called junior Honda.
So when you say same restrictor, can I actually like unbolt it from?
Yeah, it's just a restrictor plate that goes underneath the carburetor.
Yeah, goes on the intake somewhere.
Yeah, right between the carburetor and the intake. So there's multiple classes of this, right? You've got junior novice, junior Honda, senior novice, senior Honda, heavy Honda, which is the same Honda 120 motor, but they use a 160 carburetor on it. They have a 160 class, a heavy 160 class, which I think uses a 200 Honda 200 carburetor. They have Animal, which is a Briggs and Stratton motor. They have World Formula, which is a Briggs and Stratton motor. They have a iteration of the World Formula where they use some sort of alcohol.
And are those still some sort of open wheel variant, right?
Same chassis.
Oh,
100% same chassis.
just different motor.
Different motor.
Like it.
So
That's good for kids, when they're learning that shit, and then they can, just kind of step it up a little bit.
I tell you what, those World Formulas and the alcohol World Formula, all that shit, they're fast. Yeah. It's fast enough that if you got into a car that was big enough for you, you'd have fun. You'd have fun doing it. But they don't let us. They don't make a car big enough.
That's when shit starts getting expensive.
Yeah. No. Yeah, and then
Really expensive.
you and I want a bigger track.
Yeah.
Oh, that track's cool, but it's 1/20th of a mile. Whatever, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So they have a class. Mind you, I jumped into the middle of this. So the topic was NASCAR. I wanted to talk about NASCAR because I like racing. I like all forms of racing, and we'll get into other forms of racing later. But today was NASCAR, NHRA, because the NHRA Fall Nationals in Vegas started yesterday.
So here I am on a side note trying to type in kids midgets into
Quarter midgets. Type in quarter midgets.
Yeah.
You actually got midgets, didn't
into
you?
YouTube and
AKA dwarfs.
Number one at the top of the list is kids fighting midgets.
Well, at least you didn't get that article where all those people died from the lions. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. It was like in Thailand or something. In Thailand or something, there was this...
Do we need to say more?
There was some midget wrestling league where they were like trying to get people to watch, and they're like, "We're gonna have them fight lions. The whole league's gonna fight lions." And
Total Game of Thrones, where they actually put live lions out there.
yeah, dude, it killed all of them.
I mean, that's not funny. What?
It sucks. It sucks because they killed a whole bunch of people to get some fucking revenue or more people coming in. Well, the league's dead.
Insane.
Literally. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the fucking quarter midge. God damn it. This is like the first step in line if you want to get to NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of NASCAR drivers who started in quarter midgets.
Much like the shifter carts and indie racing and
Right.
how that
Same
open
type
wheel
of deal.
thing goes.
Same type of deal. So the World Formula class, which is the biggest class, that would be the closest thing that a kid could do to racing NASCAR. Like the Cup Series, you know, I don't even know what all the fucking NASCAR series are, but I know there's several, right?
Yeah. Now, is there any dirt? Do they ever?
NASCAR does not drive dirt.
Well, I mean, do your girls ever do any dirt?
Um,
And Gage as well.
So, at the regional level, they do. And they raced Region 9. Lily's the only one that actually raced any of the regional events. And there are dirt tracks. There are asphalt and there are dirt. Mind you, once the track is packed, it's a clay. It is just like driving on asphalt, except it's got marbles. Up toward the top of the track, there are marbles.
Yep.
So, yeah, there are dirt tracks.
That just sounds like fun.
It is. It was so much fun to work on those things. It was a blast. So, I mean, that's one iteration. You could jump into cage carts. I think they make those big enough that you and I can drive them. So I know there's like the smaller ones for the kids where they run like the Subaru motors and stuff like that. A lot of these, like the bigger classes, they run like a 125, 250, and a 500.
Four-stroke?
I think they run both.
Wow.
I think that 500 class is a two-stroke.
Man, that'd be fun.
They also run like the 450 4-strokes. They run the 250 2-strokes. You know, and they're not running them like in 6th gear. You're talking they get them up to speed and they're probably 3rd gear.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th, you know.
Well, I mean, that's
it all depends on the gearing.
If you're talking like a motorcycle type engine, you know,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so for a dirt bike, 4th gear, 3rd, 4th gear, shit, you might
It's
be doing
moving.
50, right? 55, 60 maybe?
Shit, those 50s or the 500s?
Well,
Man.
in like 3rd, 4th gear.
Yeah, 3rd, 4th gear, a 500, probably. 50, 55, something like that. They're fast and they're fun to watch.
That looks like fun.
That I think that season's getting ready to start this month. There's one down in, mind you, we're in the Portland area. There's one down at the Salem Fairgrounds. I think it's at the Salem Fairgrounds. You'd have to look that one up to verify, but I'm pretty sure it's the Salem Fairgrounds. Anyway, they also do what's called a micro. It's a micro midget. It's also an open wheel cart. It's bigger. They run those in a 600cc crotch rocket motor.
Nice.
So now we're getting into
They have
next
to be
level.
restricted, right? A little bit.
So when you first come out of like quarter midgets and you're racing those, yes, they are restricted. But then you get into the open class. So there's a restricted class and there's an open class. Once you get into the open class, it is a non-restricted 600cc crotch rocket motor, and it doesn't matter what it comes from, right? It's Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, Cowie, whatever. It's just got to be 600.
Now we're talking about something where if I could get my big ass in it, I would have a permanent smile on my face the whole time.
That one you probably could get into. You'd have to probably buy the wide chassis, but you could probably get into that. You know, and that's like the next step. Once you do the micros, I think you could step to legends or move on from that. So a legend is like an old 1930s car. You know, they're it's not actually a 1930s car. It is a tube chassis, and they build a body to make it look
Oh yeah.
like a 1930s car.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got a, God, I want to say 1,000 cc or a 1,300 cc crotch rocket motor in them.
Jesus.
Those things scream.
Kids in them?
Yeah, but you're not talking like 9, 10. You're talking like 15, 16, up to, 50.
And to get back to my earlier point, I'm just like, seriously, I'm like, look at these kids' driving records, right?
Right.
When they hit 16, let's see how many tickets or accidents they get into.
Right. Probably zero.
Exactly. Because
they might get an accident, but
accidents just happen. But
chances are it's not their fault.
Something they caused, driving like an idiot or whatever it is.
Yeah, a lot of these parents actually teach them from a young age, hey, this is the time, this is the place. Drive it like you stole it. Or better yet, drive it till the wheels fall off, Drive it like it's yours, because if you're driving it like you stole it, you should be driving the speed limit.
And, honestly, they're getting into this. So they're taking out all their aggressions, they're taking out all their screwing off in a car, whatnot. They're doing this on the track in a closed course, monitored track. There's, like I said, significant difference in these kids and just your everyday average teenager.
Absolutely. So the next step in my mind would be like an IMCA mod, something like that. They do that. Those are also dirt track cars, but they're a full size. They're a V8. They're fast. They're scary fast. You could also do like a full size midget, which is I think they have a 305, a 360, and a 410 class.
Jeez.
And that's also an open wheel.
Nice.
And they have wingless. They have wings, winged cars, whatever.
Looks like fun.
Yeah. Anyway, that would be if somebody was looking to go from not driving at all to racing in NASCAR. That's kind of the steps. There might be some different steps that some of these NASCAR drive guys have taken. But for the most part, they do something along the lines of quarter midget, micro, full-size midget, IMCA mod, something like that, before they go into the lower NASCAR classes. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at the 100cc PCR micro midgets. These kids are just cooking around this track.
Right. Those quarter midgets get flat moving. I bet you the even this junior Honda class, the junior novice class, I bet they still do 28, 29 miles an hour.
Man.
If I had to guess. World Formula is probably closer to 40, 50.
Yeah. And you're talking about real young kids here.
Yeah. The World Formulas, they're not first-year drivers. They're like fourth, fifth-year drivers.
Yeah.
And these kids are driving fast enough around the track that the left front tire is coming off the ground. So they're moving. And that car is sticking to the track. It's actually really, really neat to watch. If you guys get a chance, look up quarter midgets near you and check the schedule out and see if you can get out and watch one of those races, because they're free to go watch.
Or just
you don't have to pay for that
shit. I mean, it's a good time just watching them here.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, every one of those kids has a 3-foot smile on their face, and just to beat my point to death. No one's freaking out. No one's getting excited. No one's, driving like a maniac. They're all in control. And that translates, onto the street for a young new driver.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to learn how to drive, something like that. Either that or you could go buy a shitty little go-kart, you know what I mean? And
Oh, yeah.
build a track in the backyard. Say, here's some gas. Here's the brakes. Here's the gas pedal and all that stuff. And go for it. Here's a helmet.
You got a big enough piece of property or a field or something, just take your truck or your car, drive a little figure eight or something, or make them a little track, make a couple runs on it and beat it down, and those kids will learn car control.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like when you were a kid and I was a kid, man. We both had four-wheelers.
Yeah.
I had a dirt bike first, but then I got a four-wheeler. But yeah, those four-wheelers, it's the same theory. You steer
essentially.
You steer into the direction that the ass end is trying to go on you. It's the same. It's all the same. You point that thing in the direction you want it to go, and you might feather the throttle a little bit to keep the ass end from sliding completely out from behind you.
Yeah. See, my stepdad even he would literally put the yellow pages on top of his seat, and he had a 87 lifted Chevy 1500, beautiful black truck, just immaculate. And he'd let me he'd put some phone books on the seats, and he'd let me go out there and just tear shit up in the sheep field behind the house, just mud and sheep shit.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere, and man, that's how I learned to drive, and it was fun. I
yeah,
still
my dad did
it.
the same thing for me, except we were on logging roads,
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're 10. I've had a few too many.
Exactly.
Here's the keys.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, were they trying to teach us vehicle control, or were they trying to teach us how to get them home from the bar?
I think it was multi-purpose, right? I got a phone call when I was 15. I'd been driving for 5 years at this point. Not on the road legally. A couple times out when we were hunting or whatever, you'd toss me the keys and say, "Yeah, I'm not driving.
Yeah.
Why don't you get us up here to the next road or whatever?"
A few too many pops at the old hunting camp.
So yeah. So I'd had a little bit of experience by the time I was 15. Well, I was down at his house for the weekend, and it was summertime. I might have been there for a week at this point, right? And he calls. He's like, "Hey, I'm at work, but I'm supposed to meet this guy." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to need you to get in the old Ford there. I'm going to need you to drive up to this place. And he's going to put some stuff in the back of the truck, and then you're going to drive home." Like, okay. So one of my other friends was there.
I don't want to tell you too much.
One of my other friends was there, and I'm like, "Hey, my dad just called. We need to jump in the old pickup and run up to the woodshed here. Pick up I think he said a roll of cable."
Nice.
He's like, "Okay." Well,
yeah, the
let's
look
go.
on his face.
He's like, "Really?" Okay. So we jumped in the old pickup, and we rolled. And we get up to the end of the road, and I'm like, fucking neutral dropped it. Burning off the old 36 buckshots going around the corner. And he kept telling me that rear end was limited slip. And I'm like, okay.
No.
So when we drove back after getting that roll of cable, and it really was a roll of cable. It was for the winch on the front of the old 64. So on the way back, we get to right where I did that neutral drop. And he's like, "Holy shit. I can't believe you got both of those to spin."
Nice.
Anyway, I think we're gonna take a break real quick, grab another beer, and we'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
So that Datsun I was talking about, that thing is fucking dope.
Yeah.
You should look it up.
I'm gonna try and find it here.
The Datsun.
Is it like SR20 Datsun?
I'm trying to remember what it had in it. It had.
Let me just try Hoonigan Datsun.
I think it had a Nissan, probably a red top SR20. It was lowered. Fucking fat tires on it. Had some dope fenders on it. I'm trying to remember who I sent that thing to.
Hoonigan Datsun.
I sent it out not long ago to a bunch of buddies on Facebook.
Hoonigan Datsun pickup.
I think I sent it to Jeff.
No. We are still being a cunt.
Fuck, I forgot.
These little mini trophy trucks are so cool.
There it is. Fucking look at this thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Why are we fucking playing music over there?
I'll just go to the top of my feed and stop being a moron because I think it's in there.
I got this buddy over in Bend, Oregon. Fuck, kicking shit. I got this buddy over in Bend, Oregon. His name's Jeff, and him and I've been forwarding some shit back and forth. It's fucking hilarious. I guess I didn't send it to him. I know I sent it to somebody. Oh, Aaron. Dirty Aaron.
Dirty Aaron.
Yeah, a buddy of mine used to have this radio, not a radio show, but a podcast that he did. And he did prank calls. So it was pretty funny. I went back and listened to a whole bunch of them after he told me about it. I think he only did like maybe a half dozen of them, though. Where's it at? Oh, that's fucking hilarious. And it's
That's
gone.
one thing I'd like to have here is like
Oh, there it is. It's Toyo Tires. Look up the Toyo Tires.
I just saw this goddamn thing.
I'm pulling it up right now. Who wants to build one? Toyo Tires. Hashtag Datsun. Wide body. Look at this thing. It's called Fatson.
Oh, that is amazing.
Right?
I need that in my life.
It's called
I
Fatson.
I would pimp the shit out of that.
It's already pimped, dude. Look at it.
I mean, I would drive that fucker every goddamn day.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That'd be my commuter.
Fatson. What a fucking great name.
Pulling to work with that fucker. Just whoopsh.
I think that's one that it actually does have a turbo on it. I haven't read all about it. Fucking pull it up on your computer there. Let's
All right, so it's
let's get some details on this Fatson
wide
and who made it. I know it's Toyo Tire sponsored, but
body.
you're welcome, Toyo. Free advertisement
About to get kicked
for
off
all
YouTube.
2 of my listeners.
Ooh, this 280 wide body 280 is pretty amazing. But that is not it. So let's try.
Is that your beer or mine?
Well, this is my new one, and that's probably the one I'm gonna take if you don't open it.
I better open it.
Yeah.
One of us can always run upstairs and get another one while we're waiting.
1, 2, 3, not it. All right, Toyo.
It just means you have to carry the podcast. Oh yeah, we're back, by the way.
And we're back.
You're welcome.
Toyo tires, wide body.
Fatson.
I said I was fucking illiterate. You don't believe me?
Yeah, I'm watching him type right now. Not good.
Like back in
Not
high school.
good.
What? I still can't find this shit. Come on.
You typed in FAT.
Yep.
Like sun, as in Datsun.
As in dot sun. What is this?
Where'd you look it up at?
Wide body rocket.
Man, go to Google.
All right.
Fucking
fine.
go to Google.
I do everything in YouTube.
I know. I try to, but it doesn't always work for everything. I don't know if there's a video on the Fatson. I know there is for like pictures. I know there's pictures of it.
Find a video for like anything.
So I know you're a car guy. You love cars.
I do. Indeed.
He's owned fucking cars I could only dream of.
That's because I just owned them.
What, Evo 10? You had an Evo 10 for a bit.
I had a boosted 350Z.
Oh man, that thing was fucking sweet.
Fucking love that car. I should have never gotten rid of that car.
That thing was almost paid off, and his wife says,
"Oh, it was paid.
You need a 4-door.
Yeah.
You got to be able to haul the girls."
Hence the Evo 10, which was a fun car, but I don't know. I gotta be the only. I think it's just my driving skill level. You know what I mean? Because I gotta be the only guy who took a Evo 10 to the fucking track. God, what was that? The Ridge in Shelton. Beautiful track. Love the track. Got big corkscrew in it, sweepers, tons of fun. But I gotta be the only guy to ever take an Evo 10 there and be like, I just don't like the grip. You know what I mean?
I'm not real impressed by the tires and the grip.
Well, it had these Dunlop Durezas on it with mixed reviews, and I don't know.
Maybe you should have got yourself some Toyos, since we're advertising for Toyo currently.
Pilots
for free.
ones, you know, and it was like stock tires, stock brake fluid.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I needed every advantage I could get. Here we go. Toyo tires, wide body.
I have this side gig going on, right, with one of the big oil companies. It's not even one of the big ones. I don't know. I'm a distributor for AMSOIL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking, you're welcome. Free advertisement. You know you could have called me any time and I would have brought you some of that .4 brake fluid.
Yeah.
The racing shit.
We needed some different shit than what was in there because I boiled that shit like
multiple times.
Yeah, like by the second session, I think it was just garbage.
You know, I didn't realize until the kids were racing that shit actually matters.
Uh-huh.
You know, because I used the same shit. I used the racing brake fluid. I don't know what it is. .3, .4. I don't know. Whatever the shit that doesn't boil is. That's the shit I bought for the race cars, and I didn't realize it made a difference because one day a buddy of mine tossed it into his race car, not the AMSOIL stuff. He tossed in whatever he had in the back of the truck. He's like, fuck, this is what I got. I got to get this thing back on the track, right? So he tosses, I don't know, .2 shit in. Kid gets that thing out there and it's just not stopping right. He's like, I can't figure it out. I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know what to do. Drain it. Drain that fucking brake fluid that you just put in. I've got a bottle in the trailer.
Well, did he bleed the old shit?
Yeah, he bled it all out. He got it all out of there. He bled it. Fucking just wasn't stopping right. Like, car was flying around the track. Kid was doing great. He just, when he came off the track, he kept ramming into the ass end of the other cars. And it's not because he was sliding. It's because the fucking tires just the brakes wouldn't grip enough. So he kept sliding into the back end of the other cars.
Jesus.
So I'm like, fuck, let's drain it out. We got like an hour and a half before he races again. And we'll drain it out. We'll put some of this shit in. I was like, all right, we'll try it. So he went ahead and drained it out. I went and found this shit in my other buddy's trailer. And we put it in, and he fucking gets out there. He goes to, like, jam on the brakes like he had been. About fucking launched him out of the front. It's a good thing he had the 5-point seatbelts on. Otherwise, he would have been, like, face first in the ground.
Yeah, see, I boiled my shit. The fucking pedal was going all the way to the floor, and it was pretty hilarious because it's my first track day, like
That thing's probably got ceramic brake pads.
No, but it had nice brand. It had nice. Pads. Yes. It had nice Brembos on it and stuff, right? And I take it out there, and I'm like everywhere. Right?
Fuck, it won't slow down.
We take a couple warm up laps, and they drop the flag. We take off. First track day ever, right? So we're coming down a pretty sizable straight. I'm hitting like 140 by the time we gotta
Damn.
brake for the first turn, right? And it's a little bit of a it's a sweeper, but it's a little bit of a doozy. So here I come. I hit 140 ish, and I'm like, oh, there goes my braking cone, and I'm like, oh, I think that's the second one.
I think I'm gonna slide into this wall.
So I straight up miss my cones, lift and turn. That's called power off oversteer, ladies and gentlemen. So they just gave us this big long speech about there's gonna be no drifting. We catch you drifting, you're out.
And
yeah,
first
so
quarter
here I
drifting.
go, miss my cone, lift off, turn, and there's the track official on the side of the track just pointing at me, shouting God knows what kind of obscenities as I leave four wheels of smoke trying to make this turn.
And I know Nick, he's got his finger out the window going.
I make it like I fucking knew what I was doing the whole time. Relax. It was fun though. I was kind of.
It's always fun.
It's kind of disappointed, but I went out for like the third session. We got some good sessions and like fuck, I don't know, maybe 10 laps a session, right? And by the third one, I think I made 2 passes and just I was like, this is fucked, man. My brakes are fucking on the floor. I pull over and I take my thumb and I put my thumb into the tread, like inch, like nothing, just yeah. The
tires are just cooked. Fucking liquid,
and a lot of it was my driving, like not really knowing what the fuck I should be doing. I would love to dump some money into some actual like training, some track training and stuff like that, just to have a better understanding of what I'm doing out there, because I'm having fun, that's for sure.
So you haven't done any professional training or anything like that? Yeah, you're just going out for track days, paying your $100 and being on your merry way, driving your own car.
It usually runs anywhere from 2 to 250. Because they usually have some sort of deal.
And how long are you out there for?
Like I said, I think we did
couple hours.
We did. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we spent half a day there.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to get you in as much as they can. But there's usually like 3-4 classes sometimes of people.
Oh, okay. So you're not out there with like vets,
no,
Dodge Vipers and shit like that.
Yeah, no, they had about 3-4 classes. They had guys, who were fucking fast out there first, and then they worked down to us, and idiots who have fast cars.
So are they all street cars? None of these are tube chassis or anything?
Some of them are. There's lots of different stuff out there.
Got you.
It
just
doesn't
whatever you have, bring it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everything from your daily driver, like I had, to
which was an Evo 10.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
This one. This particular one. To fully tube cage, track only, come off a trailer type shit, and then nice, Porsches and whatnot. I saw a couple FRSs that were just decked the fuck out. Not under the hood so much, because it takes a lot of money under the hood to make those things fast. But all chassis dynamics, all suspension and chassis parts,
brakes,
and they're in the in the fast class, and they're out there fucking turning some quick laps. Real quick laps.
I was reading an article one time about like some of the big race teams and shit like that, and I was under this assumption that race cars were this fucking super tuned machine, right? Like, not tuned for gas mileage.
Motor wise.
Yeah, like they take the fucking tuning and they change it into this thing that like could pick up speed like no other. They put all these aftermarket parts in. Well, they do that, but they don't necessarily tune them for picking up speed super quick.
No, it's about maintaining.
Right.
Speed.
You want to maintain wheel speed coming out of the corners, going into the corners, and all of that stuff. You want to like drop the lowest amount of RPMs possible. You know, racing has more to do with fuel mileage than you think.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to have to come off the track and fuel up the car.
Oh yeah.
You know, and if Joe over here is fucking able to run 100 laps and then come off and
They don't drop flags just because you need gas.
right. You know, you're say you're running a 24-hour. Well, yeah, you need a fast car.
That's the next thing too. I'd like to talk to you about is these lemons. Maybe not lemons so much, because lemons racing turns into like this. You know, what's the weirdest car you can build, and they're like themed and everything, and it's all in good fun. It really is. I mean, those guys are fucking probably the happiest guys on the planet, just having a blast out there. But like Chump Car, you can buy pretty much, you know, anything that's not gonna collapse on the way there or in the first lap. And
I think I've heard of this.
yeah, so Chump Car racing is just it's just basically.
I mean, you're not going out
cheap.
and finding a fucking $500 job and taking.
Well,
it
see,
down
now
there,
that's
but-
how Lemons works. Lemons has it's supposed to be like a $500 limit, right?
Okay.
Nobody out there has a fucking
Right,
$500
yeah,
car, you know.
$500 car with you know, fucking turbo in it.
A lot of these guys are pulling their shit out of trailers, you know.
Right.
But
That's not a $500 car.
yeah, expensive trailers.
Right.
So
Stackers.
and then they penalize you. Like, they evaluate your car and they penalize you time wise according to, you know, what they think. If you've got, you can spend an unlimited amount of money on safety. That's not a problem. Unlimited amount of money on safety.
So
But-
your steering wheel, your seat, your
Yeah.
roll cage.
Roll cages, belts, you know, whatever. But you come rolling out in like a 350Z.
They're gonna call bullshit.
That's not a $500 car.
Right. Where's your fucking Mazda 5?
Yeah. So then
from
they
1983.
they penalize you accordingly, time wise. You know, like or extra laps. You might have to do extra laps.
Oh, and it's probably not like one.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
We're talking in like multiples of probably
Right.
25 or more. You know.
It's like, let's go ahead and throw some Joker laps in for this guy.
But you know, there's some decent cars. So I like Chump Racing. That's kind of more. That's more affordable, but a little more serious, I guess.
What about like spec racing?
Yeah, like
Like the
E30,
Mazda Miata
Miata.
class, yeah.
Some of those spec Miatas are fucking fast.
Yeah. Well, the spec is it has to have the same tire. It has to have the same motor.
No engine modifications.
But it has nothing to do with your suspension. You know, your chassis,
Yeah.
all that shit. So surprisingly, you can change the stiffness of the chassis and stuff like that by adding tube chassis and suspension shit and make your car way faster than some of those other ones.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. See, like if you could just roll if you could do a full tube chassis, but you can buy from the factory a spec Miata,
Right.
just
Just like the fucking,
yeah,
what is it, Mustang drag car.
yeah, or well, yeah, like your
Corvette?
they have
Chevy.
they have a Kobo Camaro. Now they got the
Camaro,
Dodge
yeah.
Demon that is
Their factory drag car.
yeah banned from every fucking track in America. That makes a ton of sense.
Doesn't it have a chassis or a tube frame?
Oh, I don't think it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
In fact, they sell that car with four, you know, four equally sized tires. Why can't I think of the word right now? Not staggered, but who cares? I'm retarded.
4 equally sized tires?
Yeah, so that's how they sell that, and then you get a box, right? And in this box is just a bunch of shit, but also your little pizza cutter donut tires for the drag
front.
strip. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
because they can't legally.
Right, it's not a street tire.
Yeah,
Well, I think they make a street tire or one that's street approved, but they probably can't sell it on the car.
no, they cannot.
Huh.
They cannot.
You probably don't want to fucking drive around with it on the car anyway.
Good. No, yeah, your braking must be horrid at that point.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and use the parachute.
But yeah, I mean, bananas ass car, but like if you're me, you think everything's cool, but would I buy a Demon? Probably not.
Is that a Dodge?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's the Challenger with yeah.
It's not the
what is it?
Hellcat.
It's basically, I think it's a Hellcat with a little bit of a boost, and then they sell that package, and
You're gonna boost the fucking Hellcat?
yeah, well, it's already boosted. It's a supercharged car, but then they sell that package with it, and it's just fucking insane.
Dude, the Hellcat comes with 2 keys.
a lot of those big ones do. That goes back, as far as I know anyway, that goes back to the Veyron. The Veyron came with 2 keys. God, what
not
was
a car
it?
in my fucking class, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was another car with insane capabilities that came with 2 keys. I think one was like 1,000 horsepower or something, and the next one got you. Yeah, it was insane.
Full open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who needs 1,000 horse? Okay.
Who fucking
I think the Hellcat is 200 horse, right? So it's like 700 horse or something like that with 1 key, and like 500 with the other one. Something stupid. 500 fucking horsepower in a car like that.
That's where we're headed now.
Totally unnecessary for street driving.
And a lot of them are much like we went through, because I come from the crotch rocket world. So 98, all those big companies were talking about, gee, should we start? They're having a speed war, and they're like, gee, should we start limiting things? Should we start governing the top speed of these bikes? And so they wisely restricted them to 186 because we don't want to go too fast.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we're only talking, I don't know,
so now
7 times faster than the speed limit.
We are now into, and they say arguably, but come on, we're in the midst of the greatest muscle car period that's ever happened. I mean, better than the 60s, 50s and 60s and 70s. Today's class of car is amazing. And they can handle most of them, I mean, it's bananas.
That's only 3 times faster than that.
I mean, and you're getting, a lot of times you're getting at least 20, 25 miles to the gallon out of this shit. It's insane.
Fuck, even as high as 30 on some of those R1s and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the R1, I got a story about Nick.
What?
So, I don't know, probably 10 years ago you got rid of your R1?
Maybe 2010. Yeah,
about
pretty close.
about 7 years ago,
Pretty close.
8 years ago.
It's when I bought the Z. It was conditions
About
of acquirement.
about 9 years ago, maybe 10. I was having a conversation with Nick about his R1, and he called me stupid. You remember this conversation?
No, but I mean, if I got to keep track of every time I called you stupid.
So I told you I was reading an article in one of the motorcycle magazines. I don't remember which one now. Fuck, that was a decade ago. And I said, yeah, I read your R1 will do 100 miles an hour in first gear. Remember that? Like, you're fucking stupid. There's no way it's going to do that.
106, I think, is what they claimed.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, that thing allegedly will do 100 miles an hour. He's like, no. Bullshit. There's no fucking way. It won't do it. You're stupid if you think that's even possible. I'm like, well, the article said it'll go 100 miles an hour in first gear. But the front tire will probably be about 16 inches off the ground.
Oh, I think it was way more than that.
So I told him this, and I'm not kidding you guys. Like, maybe 3 days later, I get a phone call. I'm like, okay, I owe you an apology.
I'm sorry.
That thing will do 100 in first gear.
Well, it hit about, I remember I was right in front of the mall, South Center Mall. And I was like, fuck it, we got to figure this out. So I wind it up and dump it. And I think it hit about $8,000, 7,500, $8,000. And yeah, pretty much just about bucked me off the back. But it did hit 106 before the limiter hit. And I slammed back down over the front of the bars.
So
like
the limiter
jackass.
is at like 12 or 13,000, right?
Something like that, yeah. It's 12.8, I want to say. It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't an hour after that happened that he called. He's like, so it'll do it. Oh, really?
It was just, it's like the last crotch rocket I had before that was that old ZX-7 I had, and it was built to the hilt, nitrous on it, and it felt like when you hit 150, it felt like if you sneezed, it was all over, right?
So I think I remember when you went and bought that thing. Didn't it hide in the garage behind some boxes or something for a while?
It's possible.
Maybe.
Might have been under a tarp.
I'm thinking maybe there was another one bought just previously or not far before that.
Equally possible.
Like Supermoto or a Motard.
Yeah. It's just a fun bike, but
it didn't have enough power.
Well, I mean, it was nothing but trouble. You would jump it up curbs and...
Okay, let's be honest. 400cc.
Yeah.
6'5". Yeah, probably 230.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's probably not enough bike for you.
Well, I mean, it was a fun bike. It just, like, it topped out, I think, and don't quote me, but I think it topped out at 112. And then I got this other one behind it that does 106 in first gear. So
Right. So I remember when he went to buy that. I think he said he went and saw the same sales guy that he bought the Supermoto from.
They had my number. That's correct.
So he went in there and he's talking to the guy, and mind you, the Yamaha dealership up in I want to say you were up by Federal Way.
What was the name of that place?
Were you in Auburn?
No, it was in Kent there.
Kent. Oh yeah. Okay.
RMC. That's what it was
RMC.
called.
So I think
Redden
at the
Motorsport.
time they had Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Honda. And he walked through the door thinking, I'm getting a Busa.
Yeah, I was in love with that limited edition white Busa.
So he went in there and sat on the Busa, and the sales guy comes walking over, and he's like, oh, you own a leader bike? Like, no. Oh, okay. Well, when was the last time you owned a leader bike? I've never actually owned a leader bike. Okay, well, let's get the fuck off that and walk over here to these leader bikes. So, have you ever owned a crotch rocket before? Nick's like, yeah, I had one down in Arizona.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Oh, what'd you have? 600?
CX7.
CX7, okay. So, yeah, he's like, nah, get the fuck off that Busa. Let's go over here and talk about R1. Or
See, and now that's the difference. That is a salesman who's looking for repeat customers, not someone who's gonna die in the first week on a leader bike.
Yeah, he wanted Nick's money twice. Not only did he get it twice, he
Oh,
he
probably-
could have had another buy.
I think I put that guy's kids through college.
Probably. Oh man, I remember you the first day you got that Supermoto. You're like, yeah, I got like $500 cash back with it, so I went and bought all this like helmet and all this other shit.
Well, I put an exhaust on it. You gotta do that's basic shit, man.
Because I remember you had like the leathers and the street bike helmet, but you're like, man, I can't have this shit for riding the Supermoto. I'm gonna go ahead and put this shit in the closet, and then when I buy another
That's like
another bike, I'll have it.
that's gloves, helmet, Carhartts, and a T-shirt. That's the kind of stupidity that goes with the Supermoto. I feel safe.
Maybe a Joe Rocket jacket or something like that.
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah. So he went out and bought all kinds of shit for that thing. I want to say like day one he bought the Renthal handlebars for it.
I had a couple sets in the garage.
He bought all kinds of shit for that thing.
It was fun. I mean, it was like I said, it was a fun bike for fucking around low speed. But at the time, I wasn't really into low speed. I wanted to see how fast I could get from
So
home to
maybe
work
that
and
bike
back.
now would be a good bike for him. Maybe.
Yeah, now that I'm a little older, have kids,
You
calm
know,
down a touch.
I never bought a crotch rocket because I never wanted to die on the street. Because I have this problem where every time I get behind the steering wheel of something, or, you know, if it's got a throttle, I got to test it out.
Yeah,
At least once.
that's basic safety. You need to
I
know your car's
you gotta
limits.
know you gotta know the car's limits. I agree with that. But
Or the bikes.
or bike, yeah. So I knew this, and I knew if I had one, I would just try it. It's there. I mean, why not? So I went ahead and just never bought one because that was probably the smart thing for me. And I kind of have this mindset now where I think a motorcycle would be fun, but maybe a topless Jeep would be fun.
Yeah.
Also, you
See,
know,
I'm into that too, though. I mean, that stuff's fun. I'd
Yeah.
like to get out onto the trails and
pop the bikini on, you
Mhm.
know, and go for a drive with the family out in the country or
don't
something.
have to do 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you know, there's a lot to be had and just exploring with the family, going to places most people can't go, you know, or trying to climb shit that most vehicles can't, or whatever it is. I get that too.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the mindset now that I'm in. Is
Whereas
let's do one of those.
I'm looking at another sports car, and I'm really, I really want a skinny tire bobber. I want to, you know, slow it down a bit, but get a nice rigid chopper. Now that's stupid because my back's fucked, but
You still got that little Honda?
oh no, I got rid of that
Got
when
rid
we moved.
Probably a smart choice.
Yeah, well, it was fun, but it wasn't very fast either. So, and it had like a race. It had a racing motor back from the '70s still in it.
Oh,
So-
if I'd have known that,
Yeah,
we could have made a go-kart out
yeah,
of
that little 400. Supposedly,
I know a guy.
Supposedly that thing would do like a $1.40.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at 35-minute mark. I'm gonna stop
Yep.
and use the restroom, and we'll be back.
Too many beers.
Yeah. Oh shit! I almost dumped that right on the fucking ground. All right, we're back. So, on the break, Nick had a little gander at the ceiling here in the garage. He goes, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was just wondering what that tire came off of.
Okay, so let's start a little lower on that same wall.
It won't fit on the GTI, that's for sure.
Go a little lower.
I saw
Okay.
the shifter cart.
That one is one of the old spec tires off of the back right side of a quarter midget.
No shit.
Yeah.
It looks like my well, I guess it's a little bigger, but
It's the same.
The shifter cart I had, it
Yeah.
looks like the same wheel.
So that probably had 6.5-inch wides on the front, and is that 6.5 wide? Grab that tire.
All right.
You reach it. So some of the tires on the backs of those things are, 8, 10, 12 inches wide. I'm trying to remember what this one is. Okay, it's 11.5 inches wide. That's fucking wide. There's actually a reason I kept this tire.
That's the tread. The tread's actually that.
Yeah, it's 11.5 inches wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So spin that tire around and look at the actual tread on it. There's no tread, it's a slick, but
Yeah.
you see the belts? The belts wearing through? That's why I kept that tire.
Nice.
That tire happened to be the daughter's first tire that she wore through.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I kept that one. And
You can see the core right here.
yeah, she wore through that one.
Oh, look, there's some dog hair.
Surprise. She wore through that one at practice, but that one was one of the tires that she ran at the regional event at the quarter midgets there.
So they did those all over too, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
you guys you did a couple of good drives to get them to events.
Yeah, so most of them we did. Wait, there it is. Fuck, I finally got that right ear to work. Okay. No, so we did a few we did a few of the region events. Most of them were the local events. So the track that we were at was the Portland quarter midget track, and that happens to be at the Alpenrose Dairy. Gage never did any of the other tracks, but he did the regional event at the Alpenrose Dairy.
Yeah, and all these tracks are oval, right?
Yes,
Midget
Yes.
racing, anyway.
that's correct. So, look up the big tire.
Oh.
We were at the quarter midget regional event. I don't remember where we were at now. And a couple of my buddies, Brandon and Jim, were at the big track next door, racing there. In the, I think it was an IMCA event. So they were there, and we were kind of hanging out and drinking some beer after the quarter midget thing, and they had finished up racing their event. And I'm over there with my son, Bubba,
Bubba.
And I'm looking around. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Look at that mass mountain of tires over there. What is that? So, buddy of mine, Dave, said, hey, when you're over there, grab one of those for me. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I happened to grab one, and I tossed it in the back of the truck, and Riley walked back over there and grabbed another one, tossed it back in the trailer, and that is the back right tire of a full-size midget.
Oh.
So that thing, when it's moving, is impressive.
I imagine it gets a little taller.
A little bit. That's some soft rubber.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to pull it down, it would it'd fold over on itself pretty good.
Yeah, it's got just the tinge of a knobby on it as well. It's kind of misleading, but it's every square of contact patch has just a tiny little bump on it for a little more traction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a neat tire. I think they use them on the back of a lot of those race cars, other than just the full-size micros. Honestly, I have no idea what they use them on the back of besides that. But I can tell you that's the biggest tire on the car. The other ones are slightly smaller.
I've never been in a midget racer before. You kind of, it's a bank track, so you kind of cant it a little bit to the left when you're just rolling in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Actually, one of these days we need to go talk to a guy who runs the full size and chat with him about how they set those things up. Surprisingly, there's a lot that goes into setting up the suspension on those things.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that goes with any sort of racing. There's so much setup involved.
Yeah,
and a lot of things that you wouldn't a lot of things where it wouldn't even make sense to do that, but for this type of racing, then yeah, it totally makes sense. But you really got to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know in the quarter midgets, like the cross weight from, I think the back right to the back left, there's like 13 pounds difference.
Yeah.
And then there's like a 50-50 split from the back left to the back right, or front right. So the setup is really weird.
I know, even something as I say simple as drifting, it's by far not simple, but a lot of people don't know that they run as much traction as they possibly can. I mean, they run quality low tread wear rubber, and not as much camber as you think by looking at them. I mean, it's nuts, because the whole idea there is as much traction as you can possibly get, because the wheels are aimed in such a direction that you want to keep that forward momentum.
Yeah.
You would think drifting, well, I want to keep that rear tire loose, right? So less traction. No, it's totally opposite.
Well, you get moving faster if you have more traction.
Yeah, and that's how the amount of steering angle through a corner is unreal. So, and a lot of those guys are hitting some of those big corners, 100, 120. You know, and then hucking it sideways. It's bananas.
Yeah, it's bullshit. All right, I know you're a chive follower.
I am an avid child follower. What first got me into it was Cat Saturday with me and the daughter. We used to always go through Cat Saturday. Me being a lover of felines.
That's not really a joke.
Alright, I have a small cat problem.
He's got one named Guillermo that's pretty fucking dope.
He might rule the household. That's true.
So
He might rule the neighborhood. That's also true.
all the chive articles that you sent me, for a while I was like, I don't know if I want to fucking download that. Finally, there was one, like, I don't remember the title, but there was one, and I looked at it. I was like, that one looks interesting enough. I'm going to go ahead and download it. So I downloaded the chive, and I've been reading it every morning, and I came across one this morning that caught my eye. The title is Up Your Foreplay Game with These Weird Pleasure Points. I'm like, do I really want to read this?
I need to hide this from the wife.
I don't think you do. I got a hold of my wife this morning. I'm like, okay, these are funny. I know you don't like talking in the morning, but these are good. So I kind of was going through them. I'm like, okay, well, bikini zone. What the fuck is the bikini zone? Oh. Okay, well, you're just talking about like the stomach area. And these are like women's suggestions
Lower
of what
stomach area.
Yes. Well, no. We're not that far yet. That's a whole nother area. So it's the stomach area from right under your top to your belly button.
Oh, that is a vast area.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. That's, people do that. Whatever. Mind you, these are all suggestions from women. Like, these are areas that they want you to play with. So how about we go ahead and lick the right ear? I could even get on board with that. I think people like that shit.
Hey, I'm an avid nibbler.
Yeah.
But licking.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you're liable to get some jam out of there.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you're not going fucking lips deep in the ear by any means. I'm just talking like the outer edge, nibbling on the ear and shit like that. Whatever. And then I get down here where it says, show me your weenus.
That's where I'm a little baffled. At the moment.
Why are you licking my elbow?
Yeah.
This is weird.
It says, once you discover the power of elbow play, you'll really be pissed when you can't lick your own. And then there's a gentleman on here.
Trying to lick his own elbow.
Yeah, trying really hard.
I'm not going to lie. That's fucking weird, okay? If somebody started licking my elbow, I'd probably be like, I think you need to go home.
Stop.
Oh, okay. The next one.
That's like a finger in the ass when you're getting a BJ, like, hold up.
Wait, no, I didn't say stop.
Yeah. But we definitely should talk about this.
Oh. And then we come down to the hip bone.
Yeah, now you're getting into my area of business.
I mean, I can get on board with that, right? That's really a thing. Okay, great. And keep moving on down here. Almost paradise.
Yep, lower stomach.
That's what I was talking about. We weren't quite there yet.
I'm feeling it.
Okay.
But the next one,
Yeah, hold on. Let me get down there. Whose nose?
Oh,
What
no.
the fuck is this about?
To be honest, I mean, I'm all about elevating my compatibility with a spouse here, but
I mean,
wow.
this part of the article actually says, what the actual fuck?
Exactly.
I'm not into playing some weird, kinky games, but this one's weird.
The nose is made of erectile tissue. That tiny, sensitive area between the bottom of the nose and top lips can do magical things.
So they're saying your nose can get a boner?
I
Is that what I'm reading here? Seriously? Oh, come on. Fuck, man.
no, thank you.
All right, then you get down to the head. It says great head, the scalp. I'm not thinking they're licking the scalp, right?
No.
I mean, we're talking about...
Well, you're talking about a head rub, sometimes
Yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that.
sometimes a head bone. Sometimes a head rub is nice.
Yeah. And then you get down to the backbone,
Mm.
the spine. Okay, a good massage on the backbone. Maybe I can get on board with that.
Well,
Actually, yeah, I can get on board with
yeah.
that.
Normally, a back rub is just an excuse for your wife to be lazy, but to me, the back, that's one of the sexiest areas of a female to myself. I
Yeah.
love the back.
So I mean, I'm on board. I'm with it. But the fucking weenus?
Yeah.
What? Seriously?
Who signed off on calling your elbow the weenus? That's what I want to know.
Okay. Here's my neighborhood right here. I'm all on board with this. The inner thighs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Dad.
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
Yeah.
Why? I think we can skip this one.
You can sink your teeth into that shit.
I think we can skip this one because I think every man's going to agree. Yeah, what fucking inner thigh? Why are we even talking about this?
Yep.
All right, move on. Raise your hands. The underarms. Here's another what the fuck moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna
guys.
pass.
If you actually read this, it says
Just because I've covered this and
raise your hands and lick your pits.
and it's not my wife or anything. It's like just every woman I've had the pure luck to explore. I've either gotten a tongue full of deodorant or much worse.
So you've actually done this?
Yes.
Oh, what the fuck, man?
I've been there.
Oh.
But not.
What happens if you got a mouthful of hair?
Well, if I even see hair, then we're gonna move on.
The fucking lights are off. What happens when the fucking lights are off?
I guess I'm just
all
lucky.
of a sudden her arms are above her head and you're
Yeah, I guess I'm just lucky. I've never, I don't date a lot of girls, or didn't date a lot of girls from France. I
so gross. Okay, that was the last one. But
Ooh.
fucking weenus, the underarms.
I'm very confused by the weenus.
the
Very
nose.
confused.
What the fuck, dude? I mean,
Nothing gets me hotter than a booger, man. I tell you, a booger.
what happened if you went and you were kissing on the bottom of her nose and she went
Or just, look, sneezes are completely involuntary, unexpected,
and if you
spontaneous.
touch that area, like I think you're 10 times more likely,
Oh,
right?
God, you probably.
Get the fuck moving.
Ugh.
Ugh, no, I'm out. I am out.
Yeah. Yep. I'm cashing in my chips on that one.
I think we need to call a friend. I think we need to call a friend. You still got that up?
It's still here.
All right. Hold on to that one. I'm going to make a phone call to a buddy of mine. Yeah, pull that one back up.
Oh, here we go.
All right. this phone call here.
Just, so it's not us two crazy bastards.
Yeah. No, we gotta. Oh. We're calling this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Right. All right. Hold on.
If there ever was a chance I could share an image with the public here, this would be the time.
I don't know if he'll answer on the Facebook, but let's see. Contacting. Why doesn't it fucking ring? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not responding.
More stuff we don't understand.
Hold on. We're gonna try this a different way. Contacts.
So, see now, one of my favorite chive articles, if you will, it was the Gaps Cure the Monday Blues.
Those are always my favorite.
Those are that's just good journalism right there. Just quality journalism. Things that bounce. There's another winner.
Hold on. You there?
Yep.
Oh, he hung up on me.
Oh.
Shit. I gotta figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Mix minus. Oh, there. I forgot to add his voice in. He hung up on me. He's probably mad. Hold on. We're still learning here.
You're gonna have to edit some of that out.
Stop.
Everyone knows the wetter the better. Oh my.
There we go. Now we got the voice
Alright.
call.
Let's get it back up here. Who knows?
Hello?
Hey, Dav. Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely.
Sweet. Hold on. Let me crack this up a little bit. Can you hear us better now?
Little bit.
All right, cool. So,
You messing around with your recording thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm here with Nick today. Is my cousin.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Nick.
And we were reading an article on the chive. I think I sent it to you earlier. You have the chive yet?
Nope.
All right. So,
It's a glitchy app.
yeah. But there's thigh gaps and shit. So, we were talking about a particular article that we were just going over. It's called Up Your Foreplay Game with These Weird Pleasure Points. And
All right.
there's some of them.
Oh, it gets better.
There's some of them that we could get on board with, okay? Like the inner thigh. That's a real thing. The bikini zone. Yeah, that's a real thing. Maybe licking the right ear or ear. That's a thing.
Nibbling.
Hip bone. Yeah, I'm in, right?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Almost paradise. That's just below the belly button, just above the bush. But then you get to like the nose.
Yeah.
Is that
All right.
Is
What
that-
are you supposed to do with the nose?
Well.
apparently the hold on. Apparently the bottom part of your nose. That's the wrong way. Apparently the bottom part of your nose is like erectile skin.
Tissue.
Oh, erectile tissue. So apparently your nose can get a boner.
So, Pinocchio is what you're saying.
Yes.
Essentially.
I don't know, dude. This one's fucking weird to me.
That is weird.
Okay. It's not just us.
No, I agree. That is bizarre.
How about the weenus? Do you know what the weenus is?
I can hardly wait. Lay it on me.
It's part of your elbow.
Apparently, this is a much
That's
unknown
not what I
erogenous
was
zone.
expecting.
No, it's legit part of your elbow. And apparently there are people that like this licked also.
All right.
Are you down with the elbow play?
I mean,
You know, if you have a willing participant licking things, I would say don't waste your time with the elbow.
Sure,
yeah, right?
sure.
Let's
Yeah.
But
let's
they're
go other
asking
areas.
you to do it.
Yeah. Mind you, this is mostly women that have come up with these that want men to up the foreplay game. Okay.
So you're dead serious here. Licking of the elbow and the nose
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh,
is
yeah.
upping the game.
That's upping the game. And so
Oh.
we're told. So we're not even
All
done
right,
yet.
well,
We're not even done yet.
Well, we're still moving.
So
here.
I'll confess, I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly the way I felt
So that brings us to the last one,
after I barfed.
right? This one says raise your hands. They want you to go for the underpits.
Like, in there.
No.
Get on in there.
So it's not just us. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass.
I was trying to explain to Nick. I mean, I've never done this. Nick said, yeah, I've done this.
Well, I mean, he brought up a good point. You know, maybe if you're a single man dating some women, the lights could be off. You don't really know what you're getting into. You could come up with a mouthful of hair.
Fucking deodorant.
I've definitely got some deodorant.
Yeah.
I'm out. I don't want to up the game anymore.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
that's,
I'll just leave it lame like it started.
yeah, that's as high as I can get it.
Oh, all right. Well, oh, what's that one?
You know, was there another article that, I don't know, maybe a guy wrote?
No,
Like-
we're not gonna do that.
Like how to give a better hand job?
Yeah.
Use your mouth.
Well, concise article there. I think we've covered all the ground we need to on that one.
True. All right. Cool, man. I'll chat with you later. I had to get
All
your
right.
opinion on that.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yep, have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. So it's not just us. It's everybody. The fucking armpits. You're the only one in that category, Nick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just look. I'll sacrifice my tongue, but
Your wife wants you. She
yeah,
texted me.
I saw that.
You want to call her?
No,
I'll hit the button.
no. Oh, you want to take a break, or you want to wrap it up?
Does she want you to wrap it up?
She does.
Well,
Actually, after the last set of twins, she's been asking me to wrap it up quite a bit.
maybe you should go get snipped.
That is the next thing on the horizon.
I'm gonna put that in the man box, guys.
Yep.
This is
Getting
one for the man box.
Getting snipped. Yeah. I actually asked my parents if I could get snipped. Oh God, I think I was about 16 at the time. Really hard
Solid
sell.
no on that one, huh?
Yeah, real hard sell.
Oh shit. All right. So I think we've got some topics for next time, and we're gonna wrap it up for today. I might have a couple that we can send out this week. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening, and go ahead and make your comments. I don't care if they're good or bad. I'll probably ignore you if they suck, and shoot me your ideas. I'll put the email down below, and you guys let us know, and we'll get back to you next week.
Yes, sir.
All
We
right.
will see you soon.
Over and out.